Hey guys, Chris from Surfboard here. Welcome back to the channel. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know I love a good mid-length surfboard. So when Taylor Jensen and Mann dropped their latest board design, the TJ Pro Mid, I was frothing to get my hands on it and see how it went. I actually linked up with TJ earlier on this week and asked him some of my burning questions about the TJ Pro Mid. I asked him to give a bit of a rundown of the board, why they designed it, some of the features, and some more information to help you decide whether it's right to add to your quiver. My full review of the TJ Pro Mid is coming soon, so make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for that one, along with some other interviews with TJ that you might find interesting if you're toying up which mid-length to buy, also his new Twinser, and how it compares with the Boss Up and more. But for now, sit back, relax, and listen to TJ break down the TJ Pro Mid.
Obviously it comes from the TJ Pro. That's been sort of a staple in my quiver for the last 15 years that I've been working with Dan. And I've always wanted a smaller version that would fit better in the pocket and tighter, be able to surf at more performance, but not lose that paddle power and wave catching ability. So that's kind of where it started. And then we sort of hit the shrink gun on it and came up with the TJ Pro Mid, which just kind of, it's wound up being a board that suits kind of every condition. But it packs a ton of performance in it, just being in that super foiled out rails, wider, eggier outline. It just kind of catches waves super easy, but then once you stand up and you start doing your turns, it feels more like a high performance shortboard. Yeah, look, we definitely tweaked it just to accommodate sort of the mid-length sizing. It does have that same sort of outline, and when you pick it up into your arm, it feels like that TJ Pro rail, which is super foiled, anybody who's picked it up. But we did tweak the rockers a little bit just to kind of help paddle power. If we left that much rocker in this thing, that what the TJ Pro has, it would probably start pushing water. So we brought that down a little bit, but kept the flip in the nose to sort of keep you from poking the nose. And then tail is pretty much the same, a little more pulled in, or it feels a little bit more pulled in because it's in a smaller length, so you don't have so much of a rail line drawing out that tail. But yeah, just basically built it to accommodate a smaller size, but keep that performance built in.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, look, I'd say definitely if you're coming off a shortboard, stick to the smaller sizes. Just because it has that fuller outline, it's going to feel a little bit bigger to you. And if you're coming off the longboard, stick to the bigger sizes because you're used to that longer rail line. You can hop on like an 8.0, and with how foiled out it's going to feel super performance anyways. So bigger sizes if you're coming down off a longboard, smaller sizes if you're coming up off a shortboard. Also, like, stick to your personal human size. If you're a smaller guy or girl, you can get away with the 7.2, no problem. But if you're a bigger guy like me, I'm generally drawn to that 7.8, 8.0 range. Yeah, look, that was something we really thought about when we sized this down and sort of tweaking outlines and rockers and stuff. I wanted something, I've got a young daughter who's 11 or 12 now and who started surfing. So I wanted something that she could surf on. So I wanted that stability built into it with that sort of eggier outline that it has, which that really accommodates like beginning surfers or people who need that stability in their boards. That eggier outline is going to help them there. But then the performance cut rails are going to suit a performance surfer, guys who are really great high performance longboarders and want something smaller that's going to fit, or you know, you're off a shortboard and you're used to that high performance foiled rail. It's going to fit right into what you're used to, but just in sort of a more stable, user-friendly wave catching outline. You can do anything. I mean, it's got that sort of longboardy outline, so you can definitely still nose ride, especially in the longer lengths. You can trim through the middle. It's super easy. You don't have to get all the way back on the tail to turn it. Especially as a quad setup, you can turn it sort of a little bit forward and cheat and get away with it, which is something Dan really thought about and incorporated in this board. And yeah, I mean, you can play with it kind of however you want. You can ride it as a longboard if you want. You can ride it as a shortboard if you want. Just all depends on the conditions and sort of what your preference is, but it suits sort of everything. Yeah, look, I mean, that was another big thing about keeping this board as versatile as possible was 5 fin boxes. You can run it as a single, quad, 2+1. I've ridden it as a twin and that works well too. You know, I think if you're used to that 2+1 longboard setup and the stability and predictability that that provides, start there. I've just found over time that I really like this board as a quad. It just seems to loosen things up a little bit and give you a ton of drive at the same time, which in this sort of wider, flatter outline is super fun to have that much speed on. But yeah, you can ride it as anything. With one of the Firewire guys only rides it as a single fin and loves it. And he just says that's his favorite setup. So I think regardless of what you're used to, you can throw whatever fin set you've used to riding in and it'll work. But yeah, I generally go towards like a large quad set. Look, I go towards like a 4-inch side with a 6-inch center. I find that that's kind of the nice balance of both worlds. You can go bigger sides, smaller center, and it feels like a thruster if you have some sort of setup like that. But yeah, I generally go 4-inch sides with a 6-inch center or 6.5 center, depending on the conditions.
And there you have it, guys. That's TJ's rundown of his new TJ Pro mid-length surfboard model. My full review of the TJ Pro Mid is coming soon. I'm currently in the process of testing it out. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for that one. And also some more interviews with TJ dropping later this week. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next week. You.